Good morning, everyone. It's that time again. No, it's not Becky Hi-Fi time. Sorry if you're disappointed about that one. If you've never seen that channel, a guy named John from Becky Hi-Fi, just guy cracks me up. Love him out of England. Hey, welcome. It's a happy day after Record Store Day. You know, this was the first Record Store Day in many years. I did not go out and stand in line. I just whatever. I went. I went to my local Radio Wasteland Records. Just best little record store in the whole wide world. You know, it's just you know what it's like when you know the owner. You can just go in and you're just comfortable. You can just talk and whatever. You know, you can talk about the world or about music. And so I went in there after the crowds were done, and I found pretty much what I wanted. The jazz was all gone by then. You know, I don't live like in a big jazz town to find the stuff, but you know, I travel all the time. If I want it, I can look for it then. If not, it's fine. I didn't have my enthusiasm because after all these years, and we're talking thousands and thousands of dollars I bought on Record Store Day, it's all gone. So it's like, you know, I just kind of go, well, you know, it's fun. I really also enjoyed Record Store Day, but I just was in the mood to spend all that, my usual amount of over excessive buying. So, hey, I went to one store, my store, and supported my guy, and I'm just as happy as it could be. I gotta show you a couple things here, and then we'll get going. At my son's wedding, at Eric's wedding, he gave me these socks. Won't you be my neighbor? I actually have an idea of reshooting my Mr. Rogers opening. Any new subscribers, go back. I don't know, last year, whatever, you can see my Mr. Rogers opening in my old record room. I still pop that thing in because it cracks me up, but he gave me these. I guess I was supposed to wear these on a certain day, and I don't know, Dad just doesn't always hear, but I thought those were great. That was really nice. And there's a video out there, VC video, I got to talk about. Flipside CT, Steve. I've talked about his videos before for good reason. The man does the best videos. He has one on Goat's Head Soup, the Rolling Stones. It's part one, and it's 45 minutes. One of the most entertaining 45 minutes you will watch. It is a true documentary, extremely well researched, and absolutely interesting. I mean, you just watch this. This could be on TV. I mean, he did such a great job with it. So much great information. We really even haven't got into the album, but what was going on in the Stones. Check it out. Flipside CT. Steve's. He does magnificent documentaries. He takes time, and we're talking months to set these things up and do it. And they're just the best you can get. I mean, that's if you had his channel, if you haven't subscribed, I would do it just to look at his documentaries. I mean, they're truly entertaining. He's out of New York, and just great stuff. So, I didn't go to Record Store Day, but we're going to show some Record Store what I picked up real quick. I'll talk more about this later after I've kind of listened to it. Think about it, because believe it or not, every record I show, when I talk about it, I've been listening to for a while, just trying to think about it. So, there we go. British Steel, Judas Priest, got that. The Pogues, BBC Sessions, the ugliest guy in rock and roll, Shane MacGowan. Man, that guy's creepy looking, but what great stuff. How about the Groundhogs, Split on a nice red vinyl. Nice picture of me there. There is Marcy LaRox. I have no idea. I just saw it and go, sounds interesting. Or I think they used the word African or something in there. So I tried that. Absolute blind buy. Speaking of blind buys, the Menzingers. Zero idea. Thought I should have that. And I do. Then there is Jethro Tull, Stormwatch 2. Tull is my favorite. One of my favorites. And then finally, probably the number one pickup, Galaxy 500. And this was live. And this was by far my, this was the one that I wanted over anything else. And there was one. So, that's it. You've seen me. You've seen past record store days. So I thought I was pretty damn good. I actually came by saving money. But in my travels, I know a place that has a record store day thing from the past 10 years, it seems like. I'll see if there's something I missed. You guys are going to entice me, so what difference does it make? All right, let's begin. Papo's Blues. Isn't that just a neat album cover? Huh? Kind of fun. That. We have Mr. Papo playing guitar there. The man's name on that guitar is Norberto Annibale Napolitano, out of Argentina. Sounded like my Italian, like my Italian accent. Born in '50, died in 2005. His influences, he was influenced by the usual people: Muddy Waters, B.B. King, Albert King, Hendrix, Clapton. They were all huge influences on him in Argentina. Well, in 1970, he did his first album, Papo's Blues, and it looks like this. It says Papo's Blues right there. All right, the actual album cover looks a lot better than this, but it's one of them that I saved, and it's what's playing in the background, number one. If you can find an original copy, I think they go for $1,000 or something. Try Amazon; it's a little bit cheaper than that. So, this his first album came out in 1970. This is his second album. This one came out in 1972, and it's just this, it's hard rock, it's screaming guitars, but it's so much fun. It's done totally in Spanish, which is fine. I love that. His first song was on here. He actually had a hit in Argentina, El Tren de las 16. The Train of the 16, something like El Tren's the Train. I'm sorry, I should know that. He played in 1980. Actually, he broke up. I think they did about 7 albums. In 95, he reformed again, and then died in 2005 at 55. It is heavy blues, heavy rock. It is such good music if that's what you like. This, there's acid rock in here also besides the heavy blues. This was a 2017 reissue. I picked it off Amazon. It's been in my wish list for a very long time. The price dropped down. It's still not, I think I paid $30 or something for it. But I just had to get number 2, and eventually I'd like to get number 1 just to get a cover of it. But number 1's playing in the background right now. So Papo's Blues, Papo's Blues 2. For those that like hard and heavy rock, you have to have that. It is incredible. It's made its way through the VC through the years. Now let's show a group I've never shown. I talked about it on my Thursday about albums that suck, and had a nice response to that, which was good. I was like, am I going to do it? I was kind of hesitant because I wasn't happy with it. Screw it, I'm out traveling, I'm just going to post it. And I did, and I'm glad I did. So I have this one. I want The Doors, and I've never shown a Doors album. Tino Stabile, geez, Tino, I apologize. He's out of Canada. He sent me this. Tino sent me that nice picture of Genesis. And then he sent me this. And I've never had Doors on vinyl. This was the first. Isn't this beautiful? Isn't that gorgeous? I just really amazing. SCLT has a book in there. Came with. Talks about the soft parade, what was happening. I am not an expert on the Doors. As I mentioned on my Thursday video, I had their CDs. but I never really got into them until many years later. And the reason a lot of times I got into things is you'd be reading groups and they're talking about their influences. I was heavily influenced by this group or that group, and so it just makes me curious. Okay, why were they influenced? I like this group, then I must like that group, and so I go back and look at it. Well, so Soft Parade, this was their fourth album. It came out in 1969. And the Doors, they'd been traveling and traveling. They just got done with this grueling tour, and they went right back to the studio, which was the norm, right? Well, they get there, they got nothing written. They're not ready. But it's time to record. You got to record your next album. And so what they did is they had to change a direction. And this album was, shall we say, it was more orchestrated, had more brass. It was more pop. Now, Morrison, this was the first album that really wasn't written a lot by Morrison. Morrison was really into, at this time, his poetry, and he had, quote, quote, personal issues. What? Jim Morrison? Personal issues? Serious? Wow. So Krieger did a lot of the writing. He did about half of it, and Morrison did the other half. Well, what happened is you have two different albums because they didn't really work together. And Morrison said, I don't even want to sing his lyrics. So the tension definitely was there. And Krieger's trying to do something, and then Morrison, and and they couldn't keep Morrison in the studio. They were doing retake after retake, and that was just pissing him off. And so there was just a lot of drama associated with this. But they had their biggest hit they ever had on here. That was Touch. Touch me. I could sing it, but it's not popping in my mind right away. But Touch was the biggest single. Doors fans, many of the hardcore, did not like the album. They go, God, this is just, they've sold their soul to the devil, oh, damn them. We've all had those, favorite groups where they get that album, you sold your soul to the devil. Suddenly, normal people like you. Phew. Yeah, you know what I mean? I heard Talking Heads said that. What the hell? Everyone's liking them. That sucks. It is. You do that. But you know what? That's the way it was. It was a difficult album, but they got it done. And and Soft Parade has, it wasn't their best selling. No, it wasn't. But it had their best selling singles. So that was nice. So Tino, really, really cool. Thank you so much for that. Then there's this album I found. A little blind buy. This and that, There we go. Take a look in here. Omnibus. Okay. I guess you could see what those guys looked like. How could you see that and go, well, that looks kind of neat. There's a picture of a guy there. Here you can see him. I guess it folds like this. There you go. All right, Omnibus. These guys came out of Milford, New Jersey. A lot of great things have come out of Milford, New Jersey. I can't think of a single one right now, but I'm probably sure if you Google it, you will find that. Feel free to fill me in on the whole thing. This came out in 1970. So there was 3 garage bands. The Cliffhangers, what was it called? The Furnace? I keep saying the Pharmacists? God, I can't think of it. And the Vandals was the other one. 3 garage bands kind of broke up and their members got together and they formed Omnibus. Isn't that neat? This album was designed to be a mash of the West Coast sound of the Doors and Jefferson Airplane, along with Boston sound. Now, we just talked about that just a week or so ago in Boston, where they wanted to mimic the West Coast with their own thing, the Boston sounds, like Ultimate Spinach. So they wanted to merge those two things together and do this. There is just strong dramatic vocals in this, along with fuzz guitar, extremely heavy swirling organs, and just banging drums. If you like the Doors, you will love Omnibus, because you swear to God, they went to the studio and the guy's going, yeah baby, here's the thing. Doors, they're big. You need to sound like the Doors. Come on, sound like the Doors. This is going to sound great. And by God, their lead vocalist, he channeled his inner Jim Morrison. Holy crap. You'll hear that. This guy can wail. He just comes out at you and smashes you in the face. Interesting album. A couple of great songs on there. Shake It Off and Spring. The Man song, which is what I'll play a sample for. It one and done, baby. That was it. Never took off. We had this one here. I've just picked up Ride. Okay, I've known of Ride for a very long time. They came out of Oxford, England, 88 to 96, reformed in 2014. I had a CD, maybe, I think of them, maybe 2 CDs of them, but finally bought this in vinyl. Anything special on the vinyl? Well, there is. Hey, I forgot to show you this. You know what? I used to do a lot better with labels, if they're interesting labels. This one was on the United Artists. Kind of pretty, right? All right, now I feel much better. I'll be able to sleep tonight. Okay, so Ride, really, you know, they started off as a shoegaze band. That's where they were. They were inspired by the Smiths, actually, too. But, what was it? Alan McGee of Creation Records. He heard them, and he was the manager of Jesus and Mary Chain. Plus, he was in charge of Creation Records. He heard them and signed them. So they came on. Their first albums were shoegaze. Well, by '93, shoegaze was dying out. So they kind of switched in more of a Brit pop type direction, which was taking off at that time, and that's what they went into. This is their hits, their greatest hits albums, and it is just, to me, a wonderful album. I really like this. In '95, they broke up, primarily because Gardner, who was one of the members, he wanted to make dance music, and then the other main songwriter, his name was Bell, and he wanted to do more contemporary stuff. So dance, contemporary, they couldn't get together. They blew up. But like so many groups, they reformed in 2014. They reformed and they're back doing stuff. They've had 6 studio albums, and this is their greatest hits. And shoegaze is your thing, then you already have them. If you don't know anything about shoegaze, if you like My Bloody Valentine, Jesus and Mary Chain, you would like them. Got a sample? You tell me. About a little tone poet. This is for my friend in Britain, Tootin, who just says, you know, if you could show only Blue Note, I would appreciate it. So I always try to show one Blue Note for Tootin. Tootin, cheers to you. Hank Mobley, 1930 to 86. This is just another one of the beautiful tone poets that crack when you open them. You can see that. Mobley, I've talked about him before, a tenor, hard bop, soul kind of a saxophone player. He wasn't as, shall we say, as aggressive as Coltrane, but he wasn't as soft as Stan Getz. is the best way to describe him. He did this album in 57. He'd gotten onto the scene in 49 at age 19 with Dizzy Gillespie. Well, then he was taken off on his own. In 57, he recorded this. It was one of these mini albums that sat back. Wasn't released till 1980 in Japan. It's a good hard bop album. It's just pure hard bop. That's what it is. There's a few like "Darn That Dream" gets a little quiet for me. Poppin', it's a poppin' song. Mobley he spent just a few months with Miles Davis when Coltrane left. Mobley came in, but it just didn't work out, and he left Davis, so he was there in less than a year. There were five original songs on here by Mobley. The rest of his band, he had Art Farmer on trumpet, Pete Adams baritone sax, Sonny Clark piano, Paul Chambers bass, Philly Joe Jones on drums. So Chambers and Jones obviously went to Davis, and I wonder if that's kind of how he got over with Davis too, because of that. So. It's a good album. Is it my favorite Tone Poet? Is this one that I will put on the most? It isn't. I really like the Lee Morgan ones that have been coming out. If Tone Poet's something you're looking to dig into, check Lee Morgan. That's some really good stuff. But hard bop, it's a good example of what hard bop music is. It should be like. Then there was this one, and Mokave, beats me. Afrique. You see this thing, and it just said with that African type stuff, how could you not buy it? It even came with a little something. It has a little something on here, and it's an insert that doesn't come out. Just a nice little insert about the making of the album. This is a trio. And they did this on, whatever that is. Okay, so couldn't really find a lot about this. This is the third album, came out in 1994. Glenn Moore on bass, Larry Karush on piano, I believe, and Glenn Velez is on the drums, and. It's very melodic piano. This melodic piano going on, but kind of this elegant bass and just great drumming. They added 3 percussionists to bring in these world sounds. And really what this is, it's like rhythms of the world put into jazz improvisation. And so I found it to be a really fascinating, very interesting, and enjoyable album because of the African sounds and the amount of percussion that was used within this with these 3 other percussion people. Just an enjoyable listen, a total blind buy, not having any idea except it said Afrique on there. And I thought, okay, African music. Let's see what this is going to be like. And it was nice. Great, good stuff. If you see it, it doesn't cost tons. Well worth looking into, and I would buy it. Last one, speaking of African music, was Orchestre Abbas. This came out, this is in Ghana, and it came out in 1972. So Orchestre Abbas is out of Ghana. I already said that. It seems that as you get older, you say things a couple times. You'll tell the same story all the time, too. This came out of the Islamic Funk Belt. That's what they called it, the Islamic Funk Belt. And this is a heavy organ sound. And organ is not used a lot in the Afrobeat music just because they were rare. And you had to find electricity to hook it up, to really get the stuff going. There's also heavy percussion. Is they have this rhythm section, which a good Afrobeat album has just a phenomenal rhythm section that puts you into groove, that makes it hypnotic, shall we say. Malam Issa Abbas. He's the main man, Abbas, and he heard Fela Kuti. Who doesn't? Kuti was so inspirational to so many bands, and they started up. It's just like, we had certain groups that came out, the States or Britain. Everybody made a group. Kuti was that. So they did this band. And 1974, what happened is they had a car crash. It killed their lead singer, and they basically kind of broke up. And in Africa, things were just there's always issues, always problems, stuff happening, and it's hard for groups to last. This is 6 of their singles. They only did singles, like many of the other groups. You only did singles because nobody had money to buy an album. You could buy singles. So this is 6 of their singles that are on here. Here's something. So Abbas, he started a solo career. And it ended in 93 when he passed away. And I have never said this about a death. He died because, are you ready? Someone threw a hand grenade in his bedroom window at 4 a.m. and blew him up. All right. How's that for a tale of death that we don't often hear about in rock and roll? Someone tossed a hand grenade and blew up Abbas. Obviously was not a fan of his music. Actually, his politics were one way. This politics were with someone else. And in Africa, that can become very violent, and so violent that you use hand grenades. So, good album. This is, again, very organ, filled with organ. I'll play a sample. You can kind of get a feel. Analog Africa, again, it came out of such a great label. I have so much of this stuff. I mean, the amount of African music I have to show you is pretty incredible. I could do a full video on it, but I like to split it up, because if that's not your deal, then you're stuck, or you just stop watching, which probably happens mostly. So there we got it. That's my update. I'm all done, and we're going to get done with this thing and try to keep it under my 30 minutes. I've been trying to go under 20. It will never happen unless I show less albums, and then I back up. By the way, I have to buy another record shelf. I've filled it up. My wife suggested I buy no more albums. I laughed at her face and said, right. Hey everyone, thanks for dropping by. Enjoy your week. Bye.